5-year-old Jane could barely contain her excitement as she clutched her mother's hand in the bustling airport terminal. Her blue Disney backpack bounced against her shoulders with every hop. "Mom, how much longer until we see Mickey Mouse?" Jane asked, her eyes wide with anticipation. Kate smiled down at her daughter, grateful to see such pure joy on Jane's face after the difficult months they'd endured. "Just a few more hours, sweetie. First the plane ride, then Disney World." The divorce had been finalized 3 months ago, and though Kate had worked hard to maintain a stable environment for Jane, she knew her daughter felt the absence of her father deeply. This trip represented more than just a vacation. It was Kate's promise that they could still have magic in their lives, even if their family looked different now. "Dad said he wants pictures of me with Cinderella," Jane mentioned as they browsed a gift shop near their gate. "We'll take plenty of pictures for him," Kate assured her, though the mention of her ex-husband brought a familiar tightness to her chest. They were trying to co-parent amicably, but the wounds were still fresh. A kind shop attendant, noticing Jane's excitement, handed her a special Bon Voyage sticker. "For our littlest traveler," she said with a wink. Jane beamed, carefully placing the sticker on her passport with her mother's help. When boarding time arrived, Kate guided Jane onto the plane, helping her settle into the window seat. Jane pressed her face against the small oval window, watching ground crew members move about on the tarmac below. "How can something so big fly, Mom?" Jane asked, her breath fogging the window. "The wings and engines work together to lift the plane into the air," Kate explained, fastening both their seatbelts. "Just like when you spread your arms and run really fast, but much stronger." As the plane accelerated down the runway, Jane squeezed her mother's hand, her eyes never leaving the window. When they finally lifted off, she gasped with delight, watching the buildings below shrink to the size of her toy blocks. "We're flying, Mom! We're really flying!" The first few hours of the flight passed peacefully. Jane colored pictures of Disney characters, while Kate read a novel she'd been saving for the trip. They shared snacks and whispered about all the adventures awaiting them at Disney World. During a quiet moment, Kate stroked Jane's hair. "I know things have been different lately, sweetie. I'm sorry that Dad and I—" "It's okay, Mom," Jane interrupted, with a wisdom beyond her years. "Sometimes people don't fit together anymore. That's what Dad said." Kate nodded, blinking back tears. "That's right, but we both love you very much. That will never change." 4 hours into the 8-hour journey, the seatbelt signs suddenly illuminated. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're encountering some unexpected turbulence. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelts." Outside the window, dark clouds had gathered. The plane began to shake, gently at first, then with increasing intensity. Jane looked up at Kate, fear replacing excitement in her eyes. "Is everything okay?" "Just a little storm," Kate assured her, though her own heart had begun to race. Planes fly through storms all the time. A brilliant flash of lightning split the sky, followed immediately by a deafening crack. The cabin lights flickered, then went out completely. Oxygen masks dropped from the ceiling as the plane lurched violently. Screams erupted throughout the cabin. In the dim emergency lighting, Kate could see panic spreading across the faces of other passengers. "Mommy!" Jane cried, clutching Kate's arm. "It's all right, baby. Put your mask on, just like they showed us." Kate's hands trembled as she secured Jane's mask, then her own. The captain's voice came through again, strained but steady. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've experienced an electrical issue due to a lightning strike. Our primary systems are compromised, but we're working to stabilize the aircraft. Please remain calm and follow all crew instructions." For several terrifying minutes, the plane continued to shake. Flight attendants moved through the cabin, checking masks and seatbelts, their professional demeanor betraying only the slightest hint of fear. The lead flight attendant approached Kate and Jane's row, kneeling beside them. "Ma'am," she said quietly to Kate, "the captain needs some assistance. There's a small maintenance compartment that can only be accessed by someone very small. We need to reconnect some backup systems." Kate stared at her in disbelief. "You want my daughter to help? She's only 5 inches. "I understand your concern," the attendant said. "But it's a simple task, matching colored cables to the same colored ports. Our co-pilot will guide her through the radio. Without access to those backup systems—" Her voice trailed off. Kate looked at Jane, who had been listening intently despite her fear. "Mom, I want to help if I can," the little girl said, her voice muffled through the oxygen mask. After a moment of agonizing consideration, Kate nodded. The flight attendant led them quickly to the cockpit, where the captain and co-pilot were wrestling with unresponsive controls. The co-pilot turned to Jane with a gentle smile. "Hello there, I'm Captain Michael. We need someone brave to help us, and I hear you're just the right person." He showed Jane a small diagram of color-coded cables and explained what she needed to do. The maintenance hatch was located beneath the main cabin floor, accessible through a small service panel that most adults couldn't fit through. "I'm scared," Jane admitted, looking up at her mother. Kate knelt beside her daughter. "It's okay to be scared, honey. Being brave means doing something even when you're afraid." Jane nodded solemnly. With the flight attendant's help, she was equipped with a small headset and flashlight, then guided to the access panel. "I love you, Mom," Jane said before slipping into the narrow passage. "I love you too, my brave girl." The passage was dark and tight, but Jane kept moving forward, guided by Captain Michael's calm voice in her ear and the beam of her flashlight. When she reached the small compartment, she saw the bundle of disconnected cables. "I see them," she reported. "Excellent," Captain Michael replied. "Now, just like we practiced, can you find the blue cable?" With remarkable focus for a child her age, Jane identified each cable and connected it to its matching port, repeating the color names to herself as she worked. Her small hands trembled, but she didn't stop. "Last one," Captain Michael said. "The green cable goes into the green port." Jane connected it, and instantly, the lights in her tiny compartment flickered on. "I did it!" she exclaimed. A cheer erupted over her headset. "You did it, Jane," Captain Michael confirmed. "The systems are coming back online. You're a hero." When Jane emerged from the access panel, she was greeted by applause from the crew. Kate scooped her daughter into her arms, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so proud of you," she whispered, holding Jane tightly. The captain made an announcement to the passengers, explaining how the young girl had helped save the flight. The remaining hours passed without incident, though Jane found herself the center of attention, receiving grateful smiles and thanks from everyone aboard. When they finally landed in Orlando, airport staff were waiting with a small hero's welcome. The airline presented Jane with a certificate of bravery and lifetime free flights for both her and Kate. Their Disney vacation was even more magical than they had imagined. Jane rode every ride, met every character, and proudly told each princess about her adventure in the sky. On their last night, watching fireworks explode over the castle, Kate hugged her daughter close. "You know what, Mom?" Jane said thoughtfully. "I was really scared on the plane, but I did it anyway." "That's what courage is," Kate replied, "and you have it in abundance." As the colorful explosions reflected in Jane's eyes, Kate knew that whatever challenges lay ahead for their little family of two, they would face them together with the same courage Jane had shown high above the clouds.